Teacher friends, it's Dr. Dickinson. So, we've all had some experiences with chatbots. Think about going onto a website to check your phone bill or to search for information to ask and answer a question related to a product or service. So, ChatGPT is somewhat like that. It's an artificial intelligence app that will curate questions and content and give you some results. So, here's the latest version. Now, this one is a little scary because it actually creates an essay and has some really extensive features that I've never seen before. So, before you drink the Kool Aid, let's take a look at ChatGPT. All right, teachers, once you go to the chat openai.com website, this is actually I've been trying to get in all morning. It was pretty loaded up with people. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to either log in or sign up. If this is the first time you're on the site, you just want to click on sign up. Just like many tools that we see today, you can always continue with your Gmail account. So I'm going to click here. It's going to bop it in. I'm going to click on my, one of many Gmail accounts, depending on what day of the week is and what I'm doing and who I'm contacting with. And there we are. We're into the platform. You can see it's a little bit slow here and it's securing my connection. And then essentially what I can do is I can ask questions, I can look for advice, and I can do a whole bunch of searches and it will generate text for me. Okay, once I'm in ChatGPT, as you can see, this is the user interface. I can go ahead and start entering and asking questions. So for example, let's say I want to get advice, like how do I become a teacher? Question mark. I can enter that text and then the ChatGPT is going to get to work and give me a response. Now, we already know it's going slow today because of high traffic. But it does have some positive attributes in terms of if your students are, researching a topic and they need information. I know we do a salary research career goals project in my class. So getting them to find that information efficiently is always a bonus. And as you can see, it pretty much summarizes the information very succinctly, which is nice and clean. You don't have a whole bunch of ads, which I always hate as a teacher when I send my students to a website and it's just a bunch of pop-up ads. So one benefit here, but let's say that you want your students to write a paper, and this is going really in deep here. So I'm going to just stop. Let's say I want my students to write a paper on the 3 branches of government. Now, with this OpenAI software, we'll get to work and start generating this paper. So you can see that there are some positive attributes, but also some drawbacks. The students really just have to type in a topic and some key ideas, and then a paper is written, a very well-written paper with proper grammar, punctuation. You can see there's a colon here and a lot of information. It's not giving us any citations, but it does give us information in a well-written essay. So think about in terms of being aware of this feature because it's very hard to detect if your student actually wrote this paper. If you're just doing a tool like Google Docs, you might want to have your students do a rough draft in your classroom on paper and pencil. Like, let's get back to the basics, because there is that drawback of having this tool available with writing a very extensive paper. So a way that you can kind of do something positive with this is you could have a paper and have your students edit the paper or have your students include citations or support ideas or compare and contrast. So some potential value, but certainly you'd want to be aware that ChatGPT exists and it's writing an essay. Let's just call that. Okay. All right. So we talked about some of the features, some things that you need to be aware of. But what about for you as a classroom teacher? What are some potential benefits? Okay. For me, if I'm sick and I don't have a sub plan, that can be a huge drawback. And typically I don't write them because if I'm sick, I'm not feeling well, why would I want to do more work? But you can create a lesson plan, and this can be used for your substitute. And of course, for you math teachers out there, this is great because sometimes we get a substitute that has never taught math before. They don't like it. So having a sub plan available is key. But if you're in a teacher education program, right, how are you going to check the validity of a sub plan to ensure that your students actually wrote it and just didn't generate it? Look at that. It's even including the typical lesson plan template. What? So again, drawback and benefit. I would love to hear what everyone thinks in the chat. What are some things that you think are beneficial, and what are some things that you think we as teachers need to be aware of for us to make informed decisions and determine the validity of students' work? Obviously, as I shared in my short post, that these types of um, features aren't always detectable with a traditional um, program that would check. But there is a tool out there that you can use. It's called OpenAI Detector. Okay, because literally what I'm finding is that you could have a response like here. There's 3 branches of government. I could type it in again. Oh my goodness. And it can write a new essay completely different. It's not like a one and done for every single person. It's going to create different essays and different responses based on information and curation. So here we go. There is a site called huggingface.co where you can actually check if a paper was written by ChatGPT. So here we go. It's predicting and determining if it's real or fake. So having the potential of, maybe scaring your students, saying, hey, if there's a question about whether or not you wrote this paper, there are tools available. Like, let's take a look at this tool and see if a paper was written by OpenAI and ChatGPT. So there are things out there. Again, be aware that ChatGPT is not going anywhere fast. And I'm assuming that over time, just like every good tech tool, it's only going to get stronger and more advanced. So as teachers out there, we want to be mindful of our tools, our resources. We also want to be aware that students have access to these tools. You don't, like I said, I showed you how to log in. If you have a Gmail, which most students do, then they're going to have access to ChatGPT. So be mindful of that, and just make sure that you are creating opportunities for your students to demonstrate their understanding outside of a traditional document. So whether your students are doing a video-based response or a rough draft on paper and pencil, those are 2 alternatives. Performance-based assessment, a TED Talk, add some differentiation in there. And just be aware that GPT is here to stay. So good luck. Hopefully this will not be another thing to add to your plate. As us math teachers know, we had photo math, and that was a huge avenue to kind of get around. But now we have GPT for you ELA, science, and history teachers. It can create. So take care, and I'll see you next time.